Well, today, as part of we discussion, we did talk to the Minister of Communications, Technology and Innovation. Yesterday, we talked to Chernoba, we in the head information and civic education, and he outlined some of his plan there. And one pan the bold statement we make now that within 100 days, a plan for do an assessment of the ministry force. We all know as tradition. Whenever they appoint people in places, they want to make big, bogus promises in the first 100 days. But according to Chernoba, they want to look at the various sectors that where they're under in ministry and do a thorough assessment and analysis and come up with a project and a plan ahead for see how for drive the ministry in tandem with the president in vision and for ensure say then bring the governance system and the presidency close to the people and the people to the presidency. So for sake of that, again, we'll continue the conversation also today as well. We can talk to Salima Momona Ba, I hope I get that name there right, we are the Minister for Communication Technology and Innovation. Yesterday we get very good reviews on Chernoba, and the fact say this cabinet is made up of young people, in fact younger people, where they try for steer President Julius Maada Bio in vision. Good morning and welcome to the program, Minister Ba.
Good morning. Thank you so much for holding. Good morning. I'm glad for the but slight correction. That's Salima Monoma Ba. If I'm not correcting me, I'm not glad. Yeah, but good morning. Thank you for inviting me for this morning for can talk about what's our plan for the ministry.
Let we start firstly. What is Salima Monoma Ba?
Salima Monoma Ba, a passionate Sierra Leonean. Salima Monoma Ba, a lawyer by training, but na person would always believe say my role now for being in government and being public service. So as soon as I finish, I come to talk to have a legal background. From where I start, I always believe say in some way or form I have to play a role in public service. So that I make as soon as I done my law school, I go join the law officers department. I did it for 2 years. I prosecute case then because I may feel say at that point in my role now for play part in with justice sector. We know we get a lot of issues them within Nandi. So everyone I mean one of big things I'm think, but always how we able to solve a problem of the juveniles that we go through with justice system and how we able make the situation better for them. So even when they come out, they could still play a role now with society. But then following that, my journey can lead me for going now the Directorate of Science, Tech and Innovation, and I just maybe say at that point with the vision where His Excellency me don't set say we want to establish Sierra Leone as a tech hub in Africa. I realize say for me we able accelerate and catch up to the Western countries. I mean believe say technology and innovation are the way to go. So that they lead me for go into the directorate where I spend me past 4 years they do way then lead me now to this appointment.
Now, throughout you term another directorate day, so many gains than the way that directorate don't make in terms of rebranding the country. Take me through firstly how you experience that directorate for translate into this new position.
Absolutely. So initially, when I go, I'm supposed to be just part of the legal team. Now that they signed me up for. But as when I go there, I become really interested in just like the technical aspects of the work as well. So through that, I get kind of take on more responsibilities. I become a bit more hands-on with project development. I begin to sit down with software developers, data scientists. Because I begin to realize, say, usually we already make law. If you don't understand what are the challenges them of the people already make the law for, your legal or your policy reforms are not that effective. So through that my experience, see what they sit down with them, how we design these projects together, we look at how they implement, how we begin to see what are the challenges them within Nandi. So my responsibility guys so much that I become like the lead for we UNICEF portfolio, which I mean the biggest portfolio we get at that time. Then through Nandi, we develop a initiatives that were also another year about the learning passports will digitize the MPSC and Becken and WAS papers them for able to make sure because when I go to school I know the difficulty with me with past papers and how you able to get them and able to practice so that no digitize and allow people and for able do the course online, able to see the results and assess themselves outside. And we get other initiatives that we launch. We get these digital learning hubs. We right now currently we able to establish 4 within our different universities. In Freetown, we get one at IPAM, we got the ABK University in Makeni and Jala. So that as well give me experience for understanding initiative, because we know say part of where you introduce digital platforms, you get for the people and get forget the skill sets for able to do that. And so for we now one of the big things that we focus on. Another one, a Giga project, one of the initiatives then we will do to UNICEF and ITU, because we understand say for the school picking them, internet very important for me they will get access to that. And so that project in me what we will use for maybe get internet in all schools them, and now the direct link to now we in our Minister of Communication. I get that hands-on experience for how we able work with the different sectors and stakeholders then for able put internet in different school them. So throughout that day, we just, I don't, you know, I don't get hands-on first-hand experience, I think, say, which is more than most. Usually, most people, when they come from that high up day and looking down, I don't build up, don't go through the processes. So I think, say, with this new role, I feel, say, with my hands-on experience, I think, say, that they go provide a better platform for see how we can develop the sector.
So tell us small what's in you will get for being at the Ministry of Communication, Technology and Innovation, and also what's in the ministry set out for do.
Absolutely. So I think I want to start off by saying, I think since you don't mention, I think most people when they say, oh, this is a new ministry, that is a new ministry. It might be a new ministry, but the vision and the agenda not new. I think say from His Excellency, the first administration, we don't realize the technology and innovation has to be a priority. Now make it establish DSTI. Through the establishment of DSTI and the work way the then Ministry of Information and Communication don't do, we don't see within government, don't make a lot of wins. We come to communication, we come to improving accessibility of internet service, we come to we don't work with the telcos, we come to affordability, even though we know say we don't do a lot in terms of we look at the comparing salon to other countries, but we understand say we earning capacity different, so we might still need to look at issues of affordability. So we don't do a lot of work within that, and the vision I say with this new ministry now, how we able improve on the gains that we don't get within the communication sector, specifically how they improve accessibility in the rural areas them for make sure they then able to get access to the internet. We'll get for look at issues of quality of service. You know, we understand say a lot of these issues of dropped calls or the kind of how they charge you. So these are all issues we have to look at. We come to affordability. Once you have prioritize certain sectors like the education, we picking they shouldn't be paying the same amounts until we all my LCP for access internet, because we recognize it's vital for the development. But then we come to the technology and innovation sector. As we say, DSTI don't do a lot, but even private sector, they don't do a lot. We don't see different companies there. We come for service delivery, we come for improve how people then get access to the different services that we'll get. Whilst government don't do a lot, private sector don't do a lot. We see even mobile money we'll get, that's not technology. So private sector the back don't play their part. So I believe now all this work here we don't do together, His Excellency see and fits, a need for establish a separate ministry of itself for improve on this work here. So the vision, the change is just the improve with the upscale on them. So we come to technology, we look at then how we able to do with digital transformation. How we able to ensure say bulk of them government services they would get, like if you apply for your license, you apply for your passport, you want pay your tax, that's in they not for them. Not all my for go line up na their office there, so they begin to trace your paper work. Them government want to see how we able to digitize, but for there we processes there. So for me, we citizens they able get efficient access to their processes there. So that's one of the work they will get for look at doing. But we understand say not all governments go sit down and do all the work there. So private sector gets a whole role for play, because by make private sector involved, one, you improve your economy. one you do ensure say back that tech ecosystem all my way involved, all my able come up within that. So we own role as a ministry and for provide the environment for me to able succeed. That not through the policy they will able enact for make sure see because we lost then one of the biggest stumbling blocks. We lost the nomi cater for this 21st century the way in terms of technology. We lost then they pretty much behind. So I don't think now they able ensure say we lost then come up for enable that infrastructure. The other thing we look at now trainings and skills development. So as much as we need for train with public sectors, and because we say you are digitized government service, the people then when they use the system get for able use user, then get for get the skill sets for user. And I think then they go towards the presidency agenda where you look at the big five, public sector reform, how for make sure say the people of the public service able to provide efficient and effective service. So we get for look at how they train with public sector then. But then on the other hand, we therefore look at how we citizens are able to get their digital skill sets. Because if you want a private sector improve, with people instead of get for getting skill sets and therefore able to set up their own private companies then for come on board for help with that development. So as I mentioned previously, one of the things that we'll do with digital learning hubs, really in a space where people are able to go, able to learn different digital skills. So the intention now with the ministry now, how we able to drive the skills development to job creation. Job creation could be how they will enable them for me to set up their own companies, then they will come on board. Also, when you look at, I think this 21st century, the market also just salon. Now we don't see say quick COVID happen, people enable there inside they work from anywhere. There's a whole other market outside of Sierra Leone. So we look at how if we give them skill sets and then how they will drive them to the job market outside of Sierra Leone as well. We don't even need for left the shores, but then able access and market them outside. We don't see countries like India they do. Then a whole lot of the citizens where they're involved in digital skill sets there, so we then they will help other countries then. So in that aspect, when it comes to technology, we may handle with the vision of how they will upskill on anything that would already do and make them bigger and better. When it comes to innovation specifically, innovation about how I think so we do we out of office once the presenter is this is not business as usual. You don't task we say we need for begin think outside the box. So we come with how governments they able provide solutions for citizens and usually now the same thing and no more you do, but now we think okay, how we can able to do something, we'll get challenges them, how we able to face and do them challenges they are better. If I can give you an example, more with the DSTI, at that time, the first term of His Excellency the President's administration, the flagship plan education. One of the challenges we recognized with education was there was an issue in terms of literacy and numeracy rates for a certain age group. So instead of usually government's imposition will be, well, move develop policy because we feel say we know or we know how to fix this. So that time they will take a different route. We say, okay, we know so get problem with how picking and they read and write. You know what I mean? We invite private sector them, but if they wanna come on board, and I can't tell we how wanna think say we're going to solve this problem. All my submit a proposal, we give them space for me, all my testing solution. Then we evaluate the solution, which one gets the most gains and which one is most useful. Through that day, we upscale that solution. Day. So now that in that innovation sector, I think like that day we look for do. See now we'll test new ideas and see how we're able to do things differently, do things better, and look within the out there as well how other people and solve the solution. So within that sector, they that kind of thing, and they would be able to look for enable. Specifically now, we would see with agriculture now that the new flagship, the president's agenda for provide food security for Sierra Leoneans. So we work with the Ministry of Agriculture and all that within that sector, they foresee which kind of innovative and new ideas we can bring aboard, we're able to solve some of the problems that we'll get within that.
You know, when it comes to innovation, we not get so many innovations in country where actually they solve some of the challenges NASA alone. How you feel say you go able to encourage the public in that path?
So things I think so we actually do. I think say maybe that the communication and bringing the message out there. I think it's something and we kind of get problem. If I go back to this mobile money, which is private sector, then kind of champion. That is not innovative way. That is not the successful don't get with mobile money and even they out there in the Western countries. The way count to financial inclusion and how people are able to make payments and not get that kind of system there. So that's innovation. So I think the innovation we get for look with reality. and the challenges that we face and see how we're able to solve for that. And the private sector youth, every day when they the STI, they come in every day, then get their own solution the way they don't develop, they don't get their own different thing and the way they don't do. So I think say now about how we're able to give them that platform there. For one, me they able shine. Two, for me they able benefit from the innovative solution. And young people and get a lot of ideas. Last year as well, we work with UNICEF for bringing up this youth challenge where we get where they come on mankind with in different solutions the way they don't build now the education sector. I think so we get why we come to do with tailoring. All mankind with all young people come with different ideas. Then we put to this up challenge and maybe get some funding, seed funding for the winner at the end of the day. So I think it's really about how we're able provide a platform for their innovative ideas, and because we get them in our country, you know, we get them. Now they're able to provide a platform them for me, they're able leverage, they're able benefit from their idea that we then get, and then the ability also they get for help with economy.
Now let me talk about access to technology and data. You talk just now say as part of your responsibility now for ensure say side across the country where you're not able to get access to internet. It's when I ensure say when I roll out a plan where you go get access and also beef up the connectivity and how we set up the access internet now. But there's always a problem with the price of data. Even though we don't legislate down there inside the Finance Act, where you compare how we use data or the amount we spend on data to other countries in Africa, we are expensive. Is that something you get to look at in the pipeline and see how you will work with service providers and also for ensure say we don't only get the access, but when you say the access, the people actually access them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think say we come towards internet service, so they look at two things: the access, as you say, access. You look at the infrastructure, how you book and go to the last man and then different regions and make sure they get look at the quality of service, the actual, you know, the quality of the internet so then they actually get, even the telcos, how they able get them. But then affordability, now a huge part of that. So absolutely that's what we get for able to look at and see how we able to work with our telcos, work with our ISPs for make sure say affordable for we citizens. As I say, we get to look at maybe we might have to prioritize certain sectors because as we know there might be more, especially with school picking, as I've not said before. You know, school picking they're not for the pay for the same amount, I don't believe, for internet we regular citizens really earn go pay. So I think saying some of them they will get for work, obviously work with all the partners, then work with the Ministry of Finance, NIA, for work with see how which initiative we could able put across or make sure say maybe certain sectors, even health, they need if they roll out digital platforms and for help with health sectors, agriculture, they need that internet and at the base for all things. So we get for definitely work with all of them and see how we can able make them better for them, so we can able address the issue of affordability we can to that.
Another thing again is Sierra Leoneans are very fond of social media platforms, the YouTube, Facebook, Insta, Twitter, etc. But we are not monetized as a country. And you get people with art, craft, entertainment, we get access to the internet with large following. But you look at other countries, we get probably smaller population than we. Even though they're geographically probably located center in North America, also like Jamaica, for example, most of them platform, they monetize. But the artists, because we talked yesterday to Chernobyl, and as part of in plan also now for engage and see the entertainment industry move go before. You have movies where they come on, you have songs where they come on, you get platforms where youth then belong to. But at the end of the day, just because then they're in a salon, or those handles where then they operate in a salon, they are not monetized. Will there be any initiative for engage them big tech companies then and see how at least we can reach to a point where artists can go able to get benefit from their craft when they do?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So actually, when you talk about the Minister of Information, you know, even though we ministry by divide, we don't recognize it. There are lots of things we can't, so we get for jointly see how we work together for solving, because we say communication and infrastructure, information and the content. So you get for kind of work with them to then therefore see how we able provide an answer. As I mentioned, for one of the things that you get for somebody we are talking about environment, all to we encompass, we make say for ensure say the private sector will be able to leverage on them, once they leverage on the opportunity that we then get. So we will look at how we will engage the social media companies for see how we can able to ensure say we artist them and the private sector that we come up with need for leverage on the opportunity that we they make sure say they're able to access them. We might be so get for look at we laws them, we might be so get for address or something, and then now the regulation they will get maybe they able to allow for that day. We might see how we able to address on that day. We might see which international opportunity they are outside that we able to tap on, which is actual expertise we able to bring on board for able to solve it. But definitely, I think, say, with many means of information, some of them they will be with joint thing that we get for collaborating for ensure that they happen.
You know, this now almost like driving towards the knowledge-based economy. Also, we get forget more of digitalized systems, and also we get the public, like how Marcia just say, for benefits from some of these innovations as well. With themselves they come into. Waiting go actually, and you mentioned the policies involved. How effective you think your ministry will also work in line for realize, say, we also get a national intellectual property policy where other people can actually benefit from as you look at public and private sector partnership?
So absolutely. So we come to intellectual property, we talk about copyright issues, we talk about trademark issues, we talk about patent issues. So again, past 5 years, we don't make gains because previously we don't make standalone legislations for all incident. We don't get with copyright acts, we don't get with trademark, we don't get with patents. So now how we set up the framework for me we able benefit off of that, which systems that we able to implement. So regulatory systems. So whilst we don't get the laws that we done, you get forget the actual physical infrastructure for me leverage about copyright. They need for get we would work with the Administration Registrar General's office for make sure say artists and able register the intellectual property, so then we will leverage on that. But I think most importantly, especially with about copyright and musicians and artists, we get for see which international organizations are outside where they able to tap into, because book of them and then they able to for able to license their work out there. You able to do it individually. We get for no man, one man not able to just say, "Me no more go license me on." If the power they now they come together as a collective, they are able provide that licensing platform for me when I able to get revenue from outside of Sierra Leone as well. So definitely for me that's very important. I want everything that we able work. We have to work with the Administration and Registrar General's office for see how we will put now implement within the law. Basically, because we get the law, we don't get the law. Then now for set up the infrastructure for what we implement. Because I'll go back to go back into, because all things who they talk about all they run across the Big Five, the present in Big Five. As we know, one of the areas where the Big Five they look at is youth employment, where the president don't commit for provide 500,000 jobs for our youth. So private sector, the tech and innovation space, get for playing part towards achieving the presidency agenda within Nandi. So get for look at how, as you see, to setting up the environment for me, the private sector, youth that within the social media space, they able get some opportunities there within Nandi. The artists and people that within that space, how they able leverage on Nandi. We software developers, technicians, and how they self-able leverage on opportunity. So that now all things that we get for look at, and I think say now about how we build the infrastructure for enable them for access.
You know, being a woman, you just mentioned for say the president, you re-echoed the words of the president. This is not business as usual.
Absolutely.
And even reflective on the composition of cabinet, being a woman and taking up this position and this task. What you could do for actually empower women also in your ministry and also looking at women in STEM?
Absolutely. So definitely, I think say the president promised I mean, promise we say, you know, way past the Gender Act, say, he go the 30% promise. I believe say don't go beyond that day. He promised us, he delivered on his promise. He don't put, if you watch a cabinet, only women, young women as well, and in key positions. I think so before previous we go see them go put 2 man, but and then designated, maybe you go say quote unquote women ministries, then go put we don't see way across the president, the Minister of Technical and Higher, myself. And a couple of others, we don't put some key positions and key administrative. Then, so you know, I think so that's something we Sierra Leoneans, Africans, all on board should come on board and chair, because that really happen. I think this a lot we quick for points, so we can go wrong. Sometimes we're not as quick to point on what we do well. So I think say everywhere on for commend the president for that day. But we can't to myself specifically in my ministry right now. As Mr. Said, because we divide, one thing Mr. Depa look at NAMI infrastructure. Within the ministry infrastructure, for look like engaging within how they for go before. And one thing we myself go also ensure say, you know, the gender act not for just the president up there. Now for all MDs, we get for ensure say within leadership positions we have representation within that. So if me only leader within me the commit in my own leadership structure, there is going to be equal representation of men and women. But then we can't. So then me personally, I really say part of my duty and part of my role as a young female with all kind of this position is one for be accessible to the young woman, and the idea is for inspire them. For sure, see if me can do I'm at 32 years old, which I don't mind to say, I'm proud of it actually. You know, some people like say, well, that's a late. I'm proud of the fact. I think so that testament again to His Excellency and to we government of Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone should be proud because I see the messaging from other African governments and they say, look what on a company that they do, why we they do the same thing? So I think Sierra Leone should be proud. But I feel like say my role now for sure young women in a salon say we get much more for do within governance. Governance is also just a man's role, not just a man's game. We get for come on board. As the president said yesterday, salon will go before if half of the population not involved. You know, half of the population are women. So women have to be involved in leadership roles and governance roles. So I believe say my role now for really calm down to me young, not just women, men as well, but with young people as well for sure and say do the right things, put in the work, say we support, say Yusuf Kiebul come on board and assume their role there. So I would say my role.
Okay, so you have a good profile, smart, young, you get a legal background, plus a good CV. What's it actually make you take up the job as a minister? What's the motivation?
So absolutely. So I believe say one, I always get the belief say I have to be in public service. I think say it's not good enough for shouts from the sidelines. I think so we okay do that. And the other man came within a sideline and complain and list all the things they were wrong about salon. But I feel like say I'm passionate about salon in development one, and I believe say for me salon actually develop anybody we able contribute should contribute. So it's not good enough for just the outside the Allah outside say all waiting wrong. So if whatever way where you able contribute, you should contribute. For me, it came about say where you presidents and commander-in-chief call you, say can't serve your country, you do not say no. It's a massive opportunity for contributory development, and I believe say with this vision we don't set the dynamic cabinet we don't put, it don't show say he means business, you know, not so business as usual. So, you know, it was for my bicycle self I will use for car, I go come immediately, you know, the president call you for serve, you serve. So that is my motivation. I've always been wanting public service where they call you in this kind of trust and faith where the president's not showing me, say at this age I believe, I think they don't show say he believes say if you're good enough if you're good enough you're old enough. So I believe say with that faith he's expressed, say it was absolutely my duty, the duty to serve, and then our responsibility with all Sierra Leoneans and get in whatever way you can, you should come on board. So then there could be me, I get this tagline where they say we are the change you have been waiting for, be the change. So in whatever usa you find yourself within this, it's not good enough for just complain. Use as a for embody that change where you talk about say you are see na salon. So I think so that I'm a challenge to all Sierra Leoneans, young people specifically say not feel say this not to me role or this not to me area. whatever way you can come on board, and we see how we are able to push Salongo before.
And now, evident say whenever somebody is presented with a task, and you get to find vision ahead, there are always going to be challenges where you don't expect. You don't look at your position, you don't see your goals, your aims, and your objectives. You don't even highlight some of the foreseeable challenges in the future where you go get with implementing most of your priorities them way they don't set out for you for perform.
Absolutely. I think this Salon, one of the challenges they would always get, especially within governance, now difficulty with collaboration. You know, certain people, if we talk to certain people, they don't. You know, I think say there was this previous thing of, oh, man, just think say if I shine, it has to be just me. We not believe in this collective idea. For me, even I'm a team, I not believing there's no I. Even though me as the minister, there's no I in it. Not to me no more. If I deliver, not to me no more don't deliver. I have a whole army of people that really be and really work towards. So for me, the challenge is lack of collaboration, and they are across within internally within ministries. Higher up, you know, different ministries previously wouldn't talk to each other, think they wouldn't for collaborate. Because just immediately I don't tell you how I for collaborate with my colleague Minister of Information. So for me, that is the challenge, and for me, what I believe in for solve that day, I believe in engagement, I believe in collaboration, I believe in consultation. I believe say nobody get the answer for all things. I believe say your role specifically as a minister when at the leadership role, your role is to listen. The role now for listen to the technical experts all throughout. You collaborate, you engage everybody within the sector, all the stakeholders and the private sector, CSOs, technical experts. Then you will now for make the decision with the information where you feel say go best deliver on the government's agenda and vision. So for me specifically, one of the key challenges I identify and I get for solving is I believe in consultation and engagement, and I believe say with the current administration what we get with our chief minister being who he is, I think with the ministers that we get, I believe say oh man get that passion and drive. The EVS study voted at the well of parliament. Automatically we don't begin engaged with the different ministers. Say, oh, I get so and so. I think say you get your mandate gets a role in and they come on board. You don't begin engaged in Ministry of Basic, Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Technical and Higher. So already that process don't start. We don't see the willingness from all man for come on board, more join hand, because one man not able to do it by himself.
Just as you mentioned, engaging the Minister of basic education or higher education. Let me talk about sustainable development as well. When we talk about that, what till we start now, we want time for continue and all. What thing you don't think or you get for explore with regards maybe having children in school also learn about ITC and all, be involved in these because your ministry actually they deal with communications, technology and innovation, how we can get speaking in our school for actually be involved in that already. So like countries like Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria also have a lot they're doing with children massively when it comes to ICT. Or what do you get for doing in your ministry?
Yeah, so I actually tell the Minister of Basic yesterday say previous, because well not always correct me, say education are always priority, which is true, but also the previous 5-year administration of the president say education was a flagship. So because of that, when we start off Nadia style, a lot of our projects was geared towards education. I think we do a lot within Nandi. And actually, one of which, specifically to your question of how they will improve ICT in schools, and for me, I don't say one of the things they were the focus on skills, training, and exposure. I think seeing is believing, right? So for one of the things that we begin to do is we begin this careers in tech program where we day-to-day people where they actually do the work, we put together a program for them with software developers, data scientists, even me as a lawyer, right? Because I think some people don't think of law, they know or when they think of tech, the all man does or assume saying I just software developer or that's a big code no more. I didn't know more the career opportunity there. So we to must showcase and say there's a wide range of opportunities there where you're able to go for going into this field. So one of the things that we don't do that careers in tech, we don't go through a lot of schools them. So me plan now for upscale that program and that initiative. They're working with the ministry for see how they able upscale and for make sure say maybe we could have ICT clubs in schools. I think so one for sure picking and say one, then skill sets are important. you know, so just play with computer no more. Actually, that play with computer has a career pathway. For sure, say there's skills there, for sure, say there's different routes where they will take for get to that day. So for me, that's very important. So they work with the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education for see how they will upscale that initiative. They see how they will introduce new initiatives there for really drive young children into the sector, because we say we want to rebrand Sierra Leone as a tech hub. We need we people for get the skill sets for do that. So absolutely, and a priority.
All right, let me take a look at the message and quickly, as we
Sure.
can left you in the next 4 or 5 minutes. Ronald Beresford Ignatius Georgeston say, who wouldn't agree with her comments unless you are not a Sierra Leonean for progress. Unfortunately, it's always easy to explain, but the reality is implementing them into action, which has been a perennial problem in our governance system. I hope you get the resources needed, because without the financial requirements, you'll be fighting against the tide. Good luck.
Patricia Komawa says this lady is very knowledgeable of what is needed to move Sierra Leone forward in line with the government's manifesto of the World Economic Forum policies, which all governments are accessed by for food governance. I really like how she executively desired the need for innovation and technology strategy, which is the core tool to the way developed countries work, which we call the new way of work. I am impressed.
And Mohamed El Jallo says, good morning, AYV, and also to the minister. This is the best time to be a youth in Sierra Leone. I am saying this not only because of the political appointment, but also the type of individuals who've been appointed. Please, Madam Minister, on the point of thinking outside the box, I firmly believe it is time now for this government to set up a non-politically based biased venture capital fund to help the youth put their talent and their ideas into reality by supporting them with finance and management expertise from their domain of entrepreneurship. On the point of communication, please, I indulge your attention to the telecommunications sector. It needs a lot of reforms, and also try to bring in a third force in the mobile operators so as to provide better services and drive competition, which will reduce the price of mobile calls and internet connectivity.
And lastly, from his side, the provincial bloggers say, if winning an election with 1.5 million patriotic Sierra Leone votes, appointing young people into governance, giving more ministerial positions to women, fighting against corruption, nepotism, tribalism, and regionalism, give free quality education to every Sierra Leonean is a crime against humanity, we're all guilty. Nicholas President.
And lastly, Umar Jallo says, identifying and explaining our problems is common with our political leaders, but solving it is wahala. They will bank on excuses at the end of the day. O Salon, God help us, our leaders, and God bless the land that we love. I think those are the messages seen so far. Your comments on them?
Sure, I would definitely want to comment on sustainability. I think, and especially when we come to this tech and innovation space, we understand that sometimes there's funding there to start off, but then continuing it. So I think, see, one of the things that we need for engage on is saying how then projects and initiatives that we will launch from the start, which usually hasn't been done before as much or as effectively, say, from the start, how they ensure so we get sustainable models in place for that. And they're thinking from this initially, how, why begin this, I want to ensure, say, if you come 5 years from now, you still limit and I think, say, we recognize this, we don't get problem with that before. So we definitely think of who develop there with projects there, so how we be able to introduce sustainable models. I will give you example, we would launch the digital learning hubs, right? Even when we get funding from our partners like UNICEF, we begin to think, okay, sustainability. For me, easy for that, then we go for rent space, we sort of rent space, we put the computer there, we say, now do that. But we begin to think, after this funding done, how get popular rent day? So what we do is we ensure, say, the hubs them are hosted at universities. One, they're always going to be there. Two, you get constant now traffic of people the way you actually use them. So they will begin to think of, say, okay, then for the actual internet connectivity, which kind of model they will begin play. We need to, okay, maybe we need to, and sometimes signals therefore recognize as well, see, if you are using a system there, so we have to think of financially, government can't sustain them forever. How do they sustain them? We need to say, okay, maybe if there's going to be printing access at these hubs, maybe we can get some through the printing, we can able get some financial benefits from that they will be able to use for sustain the connectivity. This is not just pay somebody else. So you have to think of how you are the internet and how they will sustain that internet. Also maybe make a would think okay, we'll make a like into a club where sometimes somebody will pay small amount of money for the access. You know, we don't go compare ourselves to other side you go pay. And all of this is not about making money for nobody. It's about that money, the way to go direct it to a pot. We're going to feed that place there for provide the internet connectivity once that project is done. So I absolutely agree with that. We can't do the funding, we're not there for government. We recognize that the government get beaucoup challenges. There are lots of priorities. But I think say the good thing about this sector is there's lots of funding out there. There's lots of funding, international partners, donor partners that we do out there. So I think say my role specifically now how are they able to position the ministry from able tap into their funding then the way they out there and bring and come back in a salon. So that funding they go there for developing technology there also, but that funding go also they will, as somebody said, that capital venture funds for private sectors. Then see how we able to put together some kind of seed funding where something with youth where they look for getting to this space we're able to tap into for able to develop. I think so. Don't begin do as we say that innovation challenge will do. That was funding that was there. We invite them for come on board. They compete. They want their way win. We able to give them some kind of access to certain funding for begin developing them program. So a lot of things that it's been done, you know. But now with at a ministry level, we see how they will do and bigger and get more more funding and able to see how much more people are able to tap into Tindele Grande.
Right, plenty thank you, Salima Monomoba,
yes.
The Minister of Communication, Technology and Innovation for you joining me at the studio this morning. And we want for once again from the African Young Voices Media Empire congratulate you on your appointment, your approval and your oath of office, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.